Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, November 28th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. We got the Google Thanksgiving week volatility. Google Ads accounts are being hijacked like crazy. Google's web guide is showing up in the All tab, and Google Post Scheduling with multi-location publishing is out. So definitely stay tuned. You don't want to miss this one. And of course, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Doodle. Doodle is the professional website builder you can call your own. Please check them out at doodle.co. Okay, so I don't know, maybe earlier this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we saw a significant amount of volatility and chatter starting to heat up, and then bam, it really started to heat up on Thanksgiving Day. It looks like Google did some type of unconfirmed update maybe earlier in the week that took some time to roll out. Google did not confirm this. Google hasn't confirmed the update in a while, actually. And we're seeing a significant amount of chatter and volatility with people saying their rankings are really doing poorly. Some people say they saw recoveries. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but there definitely seems to be a lot of volatility around this Thanksgiving Day week. So definitely take a look at that. Again, today is Black Friday, one of the busiest holiday shopping seasons online and offline ever of the whole season. So it is a big concern for some people, but Google does what Google does. So hopefully you guys did well with this update. Again, it's not a confirmed update, but I hope you guys did well. Also, Google Ads accounts are being hijacked. Well, we've been seeing this for the past couple of years, but it seems to be going on the rise. It seems a lot more people are talking about it. Previously, people wouldn't even talk about it. I know people came to me behind the scenes and actually said, hey, this is happening. There were some articles about this, I think one or two, one from Ad Exchanger, about back in January with one case, but I'm seeing numerous cases popping up that people are publicly talking about. And again, there must be so many people that just won't talk about it. Imagine you're an advertiser, you manage hundreds of accounts, hundreds of clients, and they're all in your MCC account, which is a way for advertisers, agencies to actually manage multiple accounts for multiple companies. And then somebody somehow hijacks that account and has access to all your client accounts and all their budgets, and then go ahead and spends down their budgets using their ACH accounts, because Google removed most of advertisers' ability to actually use their credit cards. They have to use their bank accounts now. So there's no way to say just pause your credit card. You have to go to your bank and so forth. It's a huge mess. The amount of clients you might be losing because of this. A lot of people are complaining about this. Craig Scalco posted about the details from his account. He said it happened 12:30 a.m. in the midnight hours, where his MCC account was hijacked. He had two-factor authentication on and everything, but he has no idea how it happened. Likely what happened was one of the other people in his account that has MCC access, or even his account maybe, clicked on an authorization request to say, authorize this third-party account to have access. They thought it was a client or something. I don't know who it was. I'm not saying it was him. Maybe somebody else in the MCC account. I don't know. And that gave that person full access to the MCC account and then probably spent it down. I think that's what happened. Not sure. Google's being very quiet about this. They haven't said anything about this, but you can see there's tons of threads around this in the Google Ads forums, on LinkedIn, on Reddit, and so forth. And it is a big concern. The interesting thing is just a week before Craig posted was that Google's ad representative in the Google forums, Adesh, posted about how to keep your account secure. So it seems like Google knows this is happening more often, but they're not able to actually handle it. I'm not sure. There's a lot of speculation, but a lot more people are posting about this, which means to me there's a lot more people this is happening to, because a lot of people wouldn't even come out and say this. So be careful with your ads account. Don't click on those fake phishing attempts or authorization attempts. Just don't do it. Go right to your Google Ads account and authorize directly in there, and don't click on links from emails. Now, also, we covered that Gemini 3 will be powering some queries for AI mode and AR overviews. So Nick Fox, just right before Thanksgiving, wrote that Gemini 3 is now automatically routing queries. First, he said to AI mode and AI overviews, and he removed the tweet or the post about AI overviews and just said AI mode. What that means is now Gemini 3 automatically will go to the 3.0. What that means is AI mode will automatically go to the 3.0 model of Gemini 3 for certain types of queries without you actually having to activate that. Google said this would happen when they announced it just a couple weeks ago, and now it's happening for some queries just on AI mode, not in AI overviews. And then more and more people are seeing the Google Web Guide show up in the All tab, either being opted in or not being opted into the Web Guide experience, Search Lab experience. This was announced back in July, WebGuide, which you had to actually opt in to have AI organized results, like organize the web and all these types of organization elements of it, which people really love, actually. And then a bunch of people started noticing this. Glenn Gay, Brody Clark, Kevin Indig, and a bunch of other people started to notice that WebGuide is actually showing up by default in the Alt tab, as opposed to actually clicking on the web, which is pretty interesting. So more and more people are seeing that. Maybe Google will roll it out. I'm not sure. I don't see it yet. And then Gary Ish from Google posted on LinkedIn, thought it was a great headline. Basically, he said, when it comes to AI search, the change is hard to accept. He basically explained that he linked to the to the Microsoft Bing article written by Professor Cadell, who basically said how AI search is changing the way conversions are measured. Basically saying we're going to have to figure out new ways to measure our conversions, to sell our services, to show that we have value. And that blog post is really good. Definitely take a look into it. I linked to it on my blog on November 24th. That being said, he basically said, Gary from Google said it's hard to accept. It's hard to adapt and so forth, but we will evolve and coexist with this platform and so forth, so you have to do that to move forward. Then John Mueller went ahead and made a joke about SEO services, basically saying that in the future, your SEOs will start doing billable work around GEO-Detox. There's a lot of hype around Geo versus AEO versus SEO and so forth. And John Mueller made a joke about, just like we had link building services and people were doing link detox, just like we had content services and people were doing content pruning. Now we're going to have this geo thing in the future where people are doing geo detox services. I'm not sure if that's going to be true because it's not the way to think about it, actually. But in the event, he made a joke and people love or hate when he makes jokes. John Mueller also said yesterday or this morning on Reddit that somebody was complaining about their site that they built as a test to go ahead and just generate AI-generated content to see how well it ranks in Google. And it did work. I think it ranked well for a little bit, then it stopped ranking well at all, and it was crashing and so forth. And the guy's like, what if I just go ahead and took all the content that was written by AI, hired humans to rewrite it? Would that actually solve the problem? And John Mueller said, no. It's not just that it's written by AI, it's that the purpose behind the writing is low quality. It was just generated in a low-quality way with no purpose, no drive, and so forth. And he basically said, at this point, you probably should rethink your whole content strategy and rethink your whole website. Maybe start with a fresh new domain name because that domain name may have been, he didn't say this in his own words, but burned, in my opinion. He basically said you might want to start with a new domain because you're starting from scratch as opposed to starting from somewhere below. And this is something that Google has said previously with being hit by penalties and so forth, that if you are hit by a penalty, you might want to start a new website completely because if you hit by a penalty and this is starting point, your website's over here. And to get back to just the starting point will take a while. So it might be easier just to start with a new website. Google's local pack is doing this weird thing. It still happened as of yesterday where Google's local pack, when you clicked on show them more results, it would actually take you to Google Places tab as opposed to taking you to Google Maps with more results. And then if you scroll down and try to click to the next result in the pagination bar, it would just break. I'm not sure why this is happening. This is spotted by Syed Hassan as well as Anthony Higman. I'm not sure what's going on there, but hopefully Google will fix this soon. Then Google also is testing in the local service ads, removing the more results button. This is interesting. I'm not sure if they're related. I think they're not. But this is also spotted by Anthony Higman where when you do a search in local pack and you try to click on see more businesses, it doesn't do that. It will just show you 8 packs with no more buttons to click through. And it's a test. I can't replicate this, but it is concerning for people who do local service ads. Also on the Google Ads side, Google Ads is testing new custom views. They actually support up to 5 different custom views. This basically says create up to 5 custom views. You can customize each view if you want in Google Ads tab. This is spotted by Govind Panwar as well as Adrian Decker, so nice find there. And then also in the Google Ads overview tab, there's this new option to see reporting by trends as well as performance by stage, which makes absolutely sense to me. Performance by stage basically says awareness is impressions, considerations are views, and actions are conversions. Why not just say impressions, views, and conversions? Why give these weird names to these types of things? I'm not sure. Again, this also was spotted by Anthony Higman. And then also Google Ads is rolling out or testing new message assets. We previously had just WhatsApp, and now we have Facebook Messenger and Zalo, which is basically a Vietnamese instant messaging platform. I assume they support more than those 3, but we'll see. This is spotted by Arpin Benjari. Nice find there. And then Google Ads Advisor, that new feature where Google's using AI to help create new campaigns and actually do actions with Google Ads. David Melamed basically said on LinkedIn that it seems like Google is taking previous contacts from other clients. So if you're an MCC account and you're chatting with Ad Advisor about client A, and then you're like, done, all right, thank you for client L help. And then you move on and you say, now I'm in the MCC environment for another client, client B, and then you ask questions about client B, it might take the context from client A and bring it over to client B, which it should not be doing. David spotted this. He showed me real examples of this really happening, but I can't share the specific client details, but he did post about this on LinkedIn, which I linked to this morning. And Ginny Marvin, the Google Ads liaison, went ahead and responded and said, thanks for sending this. We'll look into this. And then Microsoft seems to be retiring their Microsoft Advertising mobile app. It's going to be retired like now. The app will completely stop working in January 2026, but you will not be able to download the app starting this month in November. This email was received by Ive Predovan, covered by PPC News feed, and also Timin Roy posted about it on X. So a lot of people are noticing this. I don't think anybody really used it, but it's out there and it's going away. Google Business Profiles, what's called NMX, the admin profile, when you do a search for My Business in Google Search and you have Google Business Profiles show up in the top, that's not showing up for some people. It's not everybody. I can't replicate this. Most people can't replicate this, but there are like maybe 10% of the time or 10% of the businesses that I'm not seeing. I'm making that number 10% up, but there are a lot of complaints about this. And a Google Business Profile expert, Ayman Ali, confirmed that Google is aware of the issue and is working on a fix. I'm not sure if it has been fixed yet, but there are other ways to actually get to your Google Business Profile. If you can't edit it in the Google search results, you go to business.google.com and edit it there. You could go to the Google Maps app and manage it there. So there are other ways if you need to edit that business, but for some people, they just can't access it in Google Web Search. And the Google Posts finally launched the scheduling feature and the multi-location publishing feature. We covered this a few months ago or a month or so ago where Google was testing this, but now you can actually schedule your Google Posts. Lisa Landsman at Google confirmed that it's actually live fully, and I did see it myself. You can schedule a post, and if you have multiple locations, you can actually copy those posts from one location to multiple locations very, very quickly, which is great for people who do Google Posts. Google Hotel Center is reinstating suspended hotels. They announced that for the hotel tab, they're removing the suspended hotels in that tab, and they're going to go ahead and which was actually found in the properties page of your Hotel Center account. And as soon as November 19th, which was in the past, they will deprecate the suspended hotels in Hotel Center, which means they're suspending the suspended hotels feature tab in the properties page is going away, and all properties that were previously on the suspended list has been unsuspended. So that's going away, which is nice for a lot of people to work on that. And then also, OpenAI announced that they have a new shopping research assistant in ChatGPT. They said a new experience in ChatGPT that does the research for you to help you find the right products. I have a whole demo of how this works. Obviously, shopping is very important. Google released their own shopping stuff a couple weeks ago, so this is their response to that. And then Sundar Pichai said in a video that basically on launch days, he spends a lot of time on X to see how general users are actually using that product they announced. He gets a lot of feedback from X. He also gets a lot of feedback from walking over to people and so forth and looking how they're using it. But X is a very important thing for him, and he actually looks there and tries to find out what's going on there. And then finally, for some reason, clicking on the Thanksgiving Doodle went to AI mode this time for Thanksgiving, and it didn't tell you about the Doodle. It told you about like recipes and so forth, which is a whole other case where recipe bloggers are really not happy with how Google's handling it. Because all they're doing is basically regurgitating their recipes, messing it up, putting their names on it, and it's really, really bad. There's a whole great article which is discussed on It's New and had the newsletter from, I think, Bloomberg covering how recipe bloggers are having a really, really hard time with this AI stuff and how Google's really, really hurting those recipe bloggers with AI mode and AI overviews. That being said, clicking on that Doodle will take you to a recipe and not tell you about the actual Google Doodle, which is not really a story, but I thought it was fun. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is the search news we covered over the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Again, wishing you all healthy, happy Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and a great holiday season. Speak to you guys soon. Bye-bye.